So in today's War Thunder video, we're going to be looking at the Object 292, which is now in the live server. So we're actually able to test drive it and kind of see what it might be like once you're able to obtain it through the event, which is coming out pretty soon. So the Object 292, it's a very interesting vehicle. It has a 152mm gun. So compared to like all of the other Russian MBTs at this battle rating, it's a 152 instead of a 125. So that pretty much means that you're going to have a better APFSDS, which it really does at 695 within the flat pen, and then all the way down to 401 at 60 degrees, which is just crazy. You also have a pretty good HE round. It should be able to donk a lot of things, and maybe it will be worth actually taking some. Now, the thing about the Object 292 is that a lot of people have overestimated this thing of how powerful it will be in the game. And what I mean by that is that it's 10.0. And a lot of people do this thing in War Thunder where they just see something insane about a vehicle, or just that it's like insane in just one little area, and they over extrapolate of how insane that vehicle, kind of is. If we look at the Object 292, the thing about it is it has a really good powerful APFSDS, but the things around the vehicle are kind of poor. Like the reload at 10 seconds, pretty much everything will be able to beat you. The vertical speed is also pretty poor. Turret rotation is also pretty poor as well. And then you have the reverse speed, which will also be pretty poor as well at only 6.7 miles per hour. So it's a vehicle that on paper looks really good. It's going to be something that's pretty decent, especially if you're having to engage people in up tiers. But soon as people get into like a CQV environment with you, you're basically just dead. They can out reload you. If there's two targets, they're going to know that you're Object 292. They'll just rush you, and then, you will pretty much just die every time. Now, the other thing that people have really talked about is the armor on this thing. So the armor, with the, let's not use a chrysanthemum. Let's go to like US. We'll just use US rounds for this video, but like M833, as you can see, it's pretty much immune to that. Like even if we do it down to this, it is also pretty immune. You just go for the same weak spot every other T80, T72, T90 has, which is just a driver's port. Now, if we go from the M833 to, let's say, the M900, the M900 should be almost able to pin it, and it should be able to pin it as well. We're not going to be using like the, what's called the protection analysis. Like I'm going to make a user mission where we're actually going to test out the armor, because, this can be wrong sometimes. But as you can see, M900 basically pins it all the time. And if the vehicle itself gets into an up tier to 11.0 and M829A1 is shot at you, as you can see here, it basically would just pin every single time. Even at probably like, 500 meters, it'll probably even pin as well. Yeah. So, not the hugest thing in the world whenever it comes to the, upper frontal plate, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like it's doing a lot of spalling damage, which can also be a positive. What about M829? So I was seeing people talking about the turret armor. It seems like it's pinning. Like, I don't really see a huge issue with that. And then also, as you can see here, the ammo rack in the back is something that can also be a little bit of an issue. But yeah, let's test drive it, because we'll be testing out the armor later in this video. So we're now in the test drive of the 292, and as you can hear from the engine already, it's extremely loud, and it's one of those things that kind of kills the Abrams sometimes, just where people hear you coming from like miles away. And the same thing's going to happen with this T80. With the turbine winding, it's definitely going to be something that is a little bit hard to, mask whenever it goes around the battlefield. But as you can see here, one thing that I've pointed out is look at this turret rotation speed. Look how kind of slow it is compared to some of the MBTs that you'll face. Now, as you know, you can definitely, like, if you want to point there, you can just use your whole hull to go there. But at the same time, it's something that is quite slow in the vertical as well. So if you're having to shoot it like a helicopter coming in, it's going to be pretty slow going up and down as well, which is just crazy to me. I'm very surprised that they're actually able to get like 5 degrees of gun depression from this gun as well. It's kind of insane to actually think about. It can depress at least that much. It seems like it's a little bit too much. You're actually touching, yeah, look, you're actually touching the driver's hatch right there, which I don't think it would be able to do in real life. Maybe it should be like -4 or something, but yeah. At the end of the day, it is a pretty cool little vehicle. You don't have thermals, as we know. We just flashbanged you there. It's only got night vision. So you're basically running around with a tank that has just a gun. It doesn't have any MGs or anything like that. And it's just kind of like that. Like the gun's really powerful. Like, cover your ears, because it is very, very, it's like a boom sound. But it's just cool. I feel like that's the thing that like this vehicle kind of just portrays. Is it's just cool to be able to see like an Abrams. Like that's an HC over there, which is the one that's got actually good turret armor. And you can just shoot directly through it, which is crazy. And I feel like that's what this kind of vehicle is just supposed to portray. It's just supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be unique. And it's finally something that's not like a 125, and it's for Russia, which is always just really cool. We'll try out the HE next, but as you see, it just basically just pins everything. There's nothing really this thing should ever struggle with, but the reload. I mean, you're going to definitely get caught off your guard with that, especially whenever there's stuff like the leopards and, you know, stuff like that that can just out reload you like crazy. But every shot, I mean, like, we'll try to even do like a bad shot on the leopard after it reloads, and let's just see if it can actually destroy it. You know what? Let's do the 2A4. Like, let's just say like I shoot here. Okay, so it's not just going to go insane like whenever post-pin damage, but I mean, it's still pretty good. I mean, we disabled it, and now we get like a side on. Like, let's just say that we get a bad shot here. Didn't really spoil that much, but it did, you know, destroy the, you know, barrel and everything. So I mean, it's not going to be like a nuke machine. You're definitely going to have to like actually aim for where you should shoot at, which would be probably just center massive everything, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, let's try out the HE. It does have a laser rangefinder, so that is also pretty good with this vehicle. I'm not really sure. Okay, so I need to test that out before we do anything else. I need to see how much ammo that you have in the back. But yeah, as you see, HE is pretty good still. I mean, it is just a 152, and 152 HE normally does pretty well whenever it comes to War Thunder. I mean, let's try like a really bad shot of like the upper frontal plate. Yeah, it's not going to do something like that. Yeah, overall, it's going to be a pretty good little vehicle, but let's see what kind of ammo racks it has in the back and what is the first stage ammo. All right, so a little bit of a bad thing with this thing, it has its first stage ammo rack in the turret. So I believe that basically means anything should be able to just destroy this, especially like IFVs or something like that. If you see the back of the turret, to shoot there, and you should easily be able to destroy it. We'll try it whenever we do like the armor pin test of this thing in the next part of this video. But yeah, I'm assuming this is going to be, I wish this was like the second, like I probably know that it's probably like supposed to be that, but this is the second stage ammo down here. And that's just going to be rough for it, especially if you're on the side of this thing. It might be the first T80 that you don't shoot for the carousel, you shoot for the back of the turret, which is kind of crazy to actually think about. So now that we're on the testing range, we have an Object 292 right there, and we also have a T80B just so we can, you know, test the same kind of weak spots. But this is the M1KVT, which is going to be a vehicle that most likely will see this thing the most, you know, because this is a 10.3. It's just a little bit of an up tier for 10.0, and it has a lot more features than the Object 292 it does. But at the same time, it doesn't have a powerful as a gun. As you can see there, the gun is huge whenever it comes to the vehicle itself. It should be very easy to just shoot the gun out if you ever want to actually just, you know, destroy this thing very simply, is just shoot the gun out. But as we can see here, it's going to have the same weak spots as like the T80. The driver's hatch will always be the number one, probably one to go for. I mean, as we can see right here, we tested on the T80, does the same thing. The other thing about this vehicle is that it has pretty strong turret armor, so I wouldn't ever go for like this spot with like M774. I'd always just go for driver's hatch or lower plate. Like the breach can be hit, but it's so small that I honestly wouldn't even recommend it. And as you can see right here, we're not having enough pin to actually go back into the back of the turret, which as you can see on the vehicle here, it has this like weird turret thing on the back, which is where it stores the ammo. Maybe if we try it with a like higher pinning APFSDS, it will be able to go into the back and ammo rack it. But as of right now, it's not, and it's just doing very inconsistent things. So I never would go for the turret. Just go for stuff like lower plate, go for the driver's hatch, and you should be pretty good. Now, a question a lot of you are probably asking is, can you actually destroy this tank by just shooting this? And the answer is yes. As you can see right there, it just basically died. And with this thing, well, I mean, this dude's looking at me, but this is not going to be, you know, able to just do that because of the, you know, thing. It's got the little snorkel instead of a little ammo carousel. And what about Heat FS? What about Heat FS? What does it do? What does Heat FS do to the back of this turret? Does it just destroy it, even if like we do a bad shot? Nope. Okay, so don't shoot for that area. That definitely will not get you anything. But this one should easily get it. Yep, there it goes. All right, so now we have the IPM one, which is going to have M900, which means it's just a better all over round. I mean, as we can see right here, M900 has 522 and 302 on the angle pin. And from close range, you should just be able to pin it. I mean, like as you can see there, it's not the, you know, best post pin just because it's almost not pinning the tank in general. But M900 should be able to pin the upper frontal plate. Is it a weak spot? I would say I'd go for. Not really. I mean, I would just always go for the driver's hatch because at least on the driver's hatch, you know that pretty much every time would just be a kill, even on like stuff like T80s. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the only huge difference I can see with like a lull pin round that's for the 105s at least is that the turret should actually be a pretty like good weak spot. But as you can see right there, it doesn't do much as well. My big question is can you actually get around to go through the turret and go into the back of the tank and actually destroy it. I mean, as we see, maybe that was one right there. Let's just try it again and see if we can actually get M900 to do this. Okay, so I don't think it went into the back of the turret. I know there's like a plate that's like dividing it. So maybe we just need a little bit more pin to actually be able to destroy this in the back. But yeah, we'll definitely have to see how this kind of goes. A big one that I really want to test out, and we're definitely going to test it out. Also, it just bugged out. But we're gonna test out like the like Gatling gun from like the LAV. I just want to see if the LAV can just pin that thing. Yeah, as you can see, even with M900, I would just go for that. I mean, it's not going to be a huge, difference between how you use like the 105s or anything. All right, so we have the LAV here, which has a 20mm, which has not got a ton of pin on it, so it shouldn't be able to pin the like lower portion of this tank. Maybe it can pin just a little bit, and as we can see, it's not really doing much. I mean, it did be able to go into like the fuel tank right there. But the question I have is that if this thing can pin the back of the turret, pretty much any IFV can with like its APFSDS. But as we can see here, it can destroy it. So IFVs, if you're on the side of this thing, or any tank in general, just shoot for the back of this turret. It's basically just going to be a easy weak spot for the wonderful Object 292. Very simply. I mean, the gun's also super big for it. So, I mean, it's going to be super easy to like gun breach. I mean, if we had a gun, it actually could gun breach it. There we go. But yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe even if you have like an HE round, if you could get an HE round to like go over the top of this and actually pin, maybe you'll be able to like maybe if you're able to hit like the top, like right here, something like right there, it's able to just pin into the back of that and get an ammo rack. So yeah, honestly, I'm not impressed by the armor. I'm not impressed by the reload. But the gun itself should be pretty good on the Object 292, which I mean is it's a pretty good thing. And honestly, I'm just glad there's something that's not a 105, a 120, or a 125 at top tier, and it should be a very much of a joy to play. So the last vehicle that we're going to be testing out is the M1A1, which is a vehicle that's pretty much just going to be a pain to the Object 292 because anywhere on this frontal plate, you can just burn. I mean, it's not going to be a huge thing of this thing having armor. That's what I'm basically saying about the 292 is that in a down tier to like 9.0, it's going to have armor. In its own battle rating, it's going to have a little bit of armor. But as soon as it gets up tier to like 11.0 or 10.7, this vehicle basically just gets low pinned by everything. Now, at the same time, the question I still have remains the same. Does the turret... No, we didn't actually pin into the back, or at least I don't think we did. Maybe we need to aim a little bit higher. But I'm wondering if you can go through the turret and actually get an ammo rack. Maybe that one was it right there, and we can try it again. See if it go for the right side. Yeah, so we're going all the way into the back of the tank and ammo racking it. Okay, that's pretty cool to know. What about if we go a little bit lower? No, it looks like a little bit lower is like getting stopped by something. Yeah, if you're like seeing this thing hold down or something to shoot like right here, you basically just go into the back of the turret and you destroy the ammo, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, this is the Object 292. It's a pretty cool vehicle. I really do think it's going to be enjoyable to play. But is it going to be a meta vehicle? I don't think it's going to be. I mean, like as I've said, it's got so many downsides to it. The reload's bad. The reverse is bad. It has no machine guns, so definitely if helicopters are strafing you, you're just dead. I mean, the only thing about it is that it has a really good gun. And when you think about it in this way, whenever you're getting down tiered to like 9.0, do you really need this 152? Or would it just be better for you to have that gun, the 125, which at least would have a quicker reload to be able to shoot at targets, and it also just has 3BM42, which is still a pretty good round for the battle rating. I mean, as we've seen with the Abrams have gotten reload buffs. You know, most Western MBTs have an autoloader like the Type 90s or stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be a little bit of a rough ride for the thing, but it should be a really good spade because it does come with stock APFSDS. So if you like these types of videos, remember to like and sub to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video.